On behalf of the International Organization of Victims of Air Accidents and their families, we present this working paper 334 based on the different experiences experienced by victims with regard to the treatment given by different insurers to victims of air accidents. And we ask, with the approval of this working paper, that the delegates keep in mind the resolutions of ICAO and all of those involved in an air accident, so that the best insurance practices are implemented to benefit victims, as well as exchange information through ICAO, and that access to this information be facilitated to international organizations, and that the USWAP system of ICAO provide the information so that delegates provide compliance reports for those who benefit from assistance. And under the UN, next year, a workshop or seminar be organized on best practices of states in the treatment within the territory of the air insurance. There are victims of the recent MAX aircraft accident, and the experience shows that there needs to be improvements both on the human side and the technical sides. Those who have lost family members or suffered any additional harm because of late actions taken by the insurers in regard to their organizations should be taken into account. And from the viewpoint of our federation, there needs to be exchange of best practices, and that will contribute to human and treatment of victims. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I wish to give the floor to Spain.
Gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you very much, Chair. Spain agrees with the position of the Federation and what is expressed in Working Paper 334 and supports it. We believe in providing assistance to victims. We need to pay attention to how insurance companies implement what is in the Montreal Protocol. We think that it would be beneficial that states and international organizations share through ICAO their best practices in this regard, and that a seminar be organized to promote this. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Spain. Now, I would like to invite Argentina.
Muchas gracias, señor.
Thank you very much. My delegation would like to present the working paper presented by the International Federation of Victims of Air Accidents and their families. It is an issue that we are following very closely, and we would like to express our support to this working paper as well as the intervention just made by Spain. Thank you.
Thank you, Argentina. Now, I wish to invite Italy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Italy supports Working Paper 434 presented by Air Crash Victims Families Federation International. Of course, every plane crash, irrespective of whether due to safety or security reasons, is an unforeseen event to which the public is particularly sensitive in many respects. It is essential to ensure to victims and their families adequate material and psychological assistance, and that the compensation for those who are affected by the tragedy of an air crash is provided by insurances in the shortest time in compliance with the sector regulation. We agree with the proposal reminding to ICAO resolutions on the compensation of victims, insurers, and air operators. Moreover, we consider very important the exchange of best practices within ICAO on victims' treatment. And finally, we agree on the proposal of organizing a seminar on the treatment of insurances, air operators in member states. Thank you.
Thank you, Italy. Now, Portugal, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to express my support to this working paper and to support the Spanish position. Thank you.
Thank you, Portugal. Now I'm calling Lebanon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lebanon supports the working paper provided by Air Crash Victims Families Federation International, as well as the intervention made by Spain that has clarified a number of issues related to this paper. I believe that this subject is extremely important, and it tackles the victim assistance regarding compensation of insurers. This issue is a matter that is at the top of priorities of the Executive Commission. 2 working papers were presented on the provision of air accidents victim assistance, 297 and 127. These are the working papers that were presented in the Executive Commission. However, this issue in particular is related to the compensation of insurers. The topic that was tackled by the Executive Commission is actually the facilities to be provided to the families of the victims. And therefore, I believe that the working paper presented to this legal commission is indeed extremely important and deserves due attention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Lebanon. Now, I wish to invite Mexico.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mexico would also like to support the working paper presented by the Air Crash Victims Families Federation International. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mexico. Now, Finland.
Thank you, Chair. Finland would like to thank the author of this paper for a very good presentation and taking up a very important subject. Finland particularly would like to support action points A, B, and D of the paper. However, Finland has some reserves as to action point C, which refers to the USOAP program, Universal Safety Oversight Audit Program, as I believe the Council has issued some guidelines as to in which direction the program should be developed, concentrating on safety issues. So I warmly recommend all the other actions. However, I would recommend that the recommendation on the USOAP program could be looked at again. Thank you.
Thank you, Finland. Is there any other speaker? Yeah, Singapore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We join in thanking the Air Crash Victims Family Federation International for their paper. In general, we definitely agree with the support that should be given to the victims of air crashes. It's the least that we can do. And I share the concern that Finland has expressed regarding the USOAP, the request that USOAP implement adequate requirements so that states could contribute best practices. The USOAP is in relation to safety, and it is difficult to include this requirement. I think the limitations that are faced in supporting these actions does not mean that support is not important. And I think that there are ways, as we have earlier expressed in relation to the forum, to address some of these requests. So whether it is regards to the seminar or to the practice of the insurers, I think all states should take note of the challenges that the victims face, and we can do our best to assist with all these matters. With regards to the seminar, I think that whether it is a dedicated seminar or not, the challenges faced and the support required can always be incorporated into other seminars as well, and this is something that the forum could consider as well. Just a little point regarding the Chinese paper. We thank China also for sharing the approach on targeted and precise oversight. We are always keen to learn from others. We implement a risk-based approach, and we would like to learn from the way that China has tried to address their challenges, because in the context of a rapidly increasing aviation system. If other states are also able to share the experiences, we would also very much appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Singapore. I see none, so I know that Mr. Huang would like to make intervention. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wish to thank Air Crash Victims Family Federations International for putting efforts in presenting this paper. Like many states, Spain, Argentina, Italy, Portugal, Lebanon, Mexico, Finland, Singapore, Secretariat will also support the lofty goal of victim compensation. I had my own experience in 2014 in Ukraine, witnessing the disastrous effects of the victims toward the families. In the case of Malaysian airliners, MA17. So I had that first-hand feeling. And when we work also together with your former chair, Mr. Efferson, who lost his daughter in one of the terrorist attacks. So we all share this kind of sentiments. The working paper, when it's referred to us, among ICAO, there was some discussion about it is the safety aspect or is the legal aspect. So after certain internal discussion, we refer to this use of safety oversight program, and some of the victim compensation were handled in the context of Annex 13, accident investigation. We had some internal discussion about where to take this paper. Finally, I, as the secretary of the Legal Commission, I said, we take it first. It remained the issue is across sectors and multidisciplinary. It's not just legal issue here. There's an insurance matter here. There is an annex to the Chicago Convention. There are also issue of the use of universal safety oversight program, which need to have a global approach. So what I suggest to this distinguished commission is we note the paper and study the issues among ICAO Secretariat and see what would be the possible steps we could do as a approach to this matter. And secondly, regarding the seminar, as the delegate of Singapore has mentioned, this is a very useful topic to be included in the seminar. But whether this is designated to be a special seminar next year, to be honest with you, Legal Bureau doesn't have the budget for that. If the budget can be made available, that's a different story. So depend on the state who sponsor, who support this. If you can support this, that's certainly we are more than willing to co-sponsor it. Secondly, there are also other forums we can include this. So I call perhaps to study the possibility whether the Air Crash Victim Families Federation International next time can send your presentation speaker to some of the seminars that we have. I take this opportunity here to thanks again Singapore for organizing the Legal Advisor Forum, also for Republic of Korea for consecutively in the past 18 years to sponsor Asia Pacific Legal Seminar. And Korea also has a paper in front of us, but because it's an information paper, we did not discuss it. So perhaps in addition to thanking Korea for your efforts, Aircraft Victims Family Federation International may contact them in their seminar. Probably you can send 1 or 2 experts to illustrate what needs to be done in this respect and discuss in that seminar. That would be my proposal for this item for your consideration. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Huang, for your observation. Is there any other comment is there any delegation would like to make a comment? I see none. So if you allow me, I just want to make a conclusion of our deliberation. So my conclusion for working paper 434, prepared by Air Crash Victim Families Federation International, I think Mr. Huang made a very good proposal. We just take note the paper, and we request the Secretariat to conduct a study on the possible future work on this matter. And on the seminar, I didn't really take what is your proposal, but one day seminar.
First is the Secretariat involves several multidisciplinary aspects, so we need a comprehensive overall kind of holistic study, and some of them need the help of Air Navigation Bureau. As for the seminar, we have possibility to include this subject for the next Legal Advisor Forum. And also another possibility is the seminar to be organized by Korea in 2021. Okay. Korea has presented this paper on that.
Thank you, Mr. Huang. So about the seminar, we may include it in the next 2 seminars on the legal forum, and other in a seminar that is going to be organized by Korea. Yes, Argentina, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question. Where is the council in all this consideration? Because you have the assembly every 3 years, you have the legal committee, but the council, I'm certain, Dr. Wan, would love to see the study you are going to produce to continue to provide intergovernmental guidance to the work of the Secretariat. Thank you very much.
Mr. Huang, you would like to?
Yes. Well, thank you, the representative of Argentina. Yes, this legal commission would report to the plenary, and plenary would approve the report of this legal commission, and then any guidelines or plan of actions would be transmitted in due course to the council.
Thank
you.
Microphone for Argentina, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm saying that maybe this committee should include in the recommendation to the plenary that the report is presented to the council. My concern is that when we go to the plenary, particularly, you know, they are announcing in all the committees that the building tomorrow is closed at all. So all the activities will go to the weekend. We'll work under pressure, and we may not have the time to go to these nuances when we go to the plenary. So my humble suggestion is that we include the council in the loop in the recommendation from this committee to the plenary, so we can save some time there. Thank you.
I think this is quite wise proposal. Can we do that? Okay, thank you, Argentina, for your proposal.